is the Moto G52, Motorola's newest addition in the G series of budget devices, and honestly it's been an amazing experience using it for the last 1 week. So in this video I'm gonna give you my full review of the Moto G52 after using it as my primary device. Both of my sims were in here and I used it extensively for the past week. So if you're interested in this particular topic, then make sure to stick till the end. With that said, let's get into the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is French Shinobi. So when I first unboxed the Moto G52, the first thing that I noticed was the design, and honestly it looks amazing. So I got the charcoal grey color, and as soon as I took it out of the box I saw that it had the case on, so I quickly took the case off, and the phone has a satin back and the sides are shiny, and it is entirely made out of plastic, but it doesn't look or feel like that at all. It feels very premium to hold in the hand, and it looks even more premium. And add to that the super lightweight, and yeah, it comes at around 169 grams, which is extremely light, and also the thickness is just 7.9 millimeters, which makes it one of the most thinnest and lightest devices in this particular price segment. And yes, the price is around 16,000 rupees for the 6GB 128GB variant and around 14,000 rupees for the 4GB and 64GB variant. So if you're someone who is trying to get this particular device, I would suggest you to get the 6GB and 128GB variant, because this doesn't have a triple slot, it has a hybrid SIM slot which can either hold 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card and 1 micro SD card. So if you're someone who uses a lot of local storage on their phones, then getting the 128GB variant, which I have here, is gonna be very beneficial for you. And there are card discounts all the time, so if you can get it with a card discount, then you can get the Moto G52, the 6GB 128GB variant, for about 15,250 rupees, the same amount that I got it for. And for that price it is an absolute deal. So the design looks very premium. The camera module is familiar with how the other G series phones look, and the camera module also has small details in it which makes it look really nice. And I honestly love this particular grey color. It looks really nice with the satin back. The back does attract fingerprints and the sides also do, even though it's kind of matte, but it does attract a lot of fingerprints. So if you're not using any cases or anything, so you have to wipe it down after some time, which is not really bad honestly, because the fingerprints are not that much, but yes, it does collect fingerprint. And you don't get any kind of screen protectors with this particular device pre-installed, so you'd have to install a screen protector. But they do give you a case in the box, this transparent case, but it turned yellow on the bottom pretty quickly. So yeah, until and unless you get a very good case, just use it till then. For that, it's good for initial use, it protects the device initially, but yeah, eventually if you are someone who uses a case, then get a good case for the G52. Now if we talk about the ports on this device and the buttons, so the volume button and the power button are very tactile to press. The power button has the fingerprint sensor integrated into it. Yes, it has a side mounted fingerprint sensor which works really well. It works all the time. I have never missed a single time with this particular fingerprint sensor. So it is very accurate. It is a little bit slow, but yeah, it's very accurate. And yeah, it gives you haptic feedback when you're unlocking, so that's really nice. And this phone also has a USB Type-C port, but unfortunately it's a USB 2.0 port. And you do get a headphone jack on it, which is excellent, and the output from the headphone jack is also very good. And you also get stereo speakers with the G52. The speakers are very loud and it rattles the chassis a bit, so a lot of people were asking me if the vibrations are a lot to handle, but yeah, the vibrations are not that bad honestly if you have a speaker in such a thin phone, which the speakers are very loud honestly. So yeah, if you have such loud speakers in such a thin body and it is made of plastic, then yeah, the body will like vibrate a little bit. So that's just normal, there's nothing major in it. It's just that the speakers are loud, that's why the body is vibrating. So you don't have to worry about the vibrations at all. And yeah, as I mentioned, the speakers are really loud. They lack a bit of bass in them, but yeah, they are really loud, and the stereo separation is also pretty good. It's still a 60-40 mixture, but yeah, if you end up covering the bottom speaker, the top speaker gets quite loud, honestly. So let me just play a song for you so that you can experience this particular device. So yes, as you saw that even after covering the bottom speaker, the earpiece speaker was very loud. So yeah, that's a really good thing. Both the speakers are very loud. The separation and the balance could have been a bit better, but yeah, you can't ask much at this particular price point. The stereo speakers are really good for the price, and they do deliver. And the headphone jack is such a good thing to have. And in the audio front, they also have Dolby Atmos support on this particular device, which is excellent, and it honestly really helps the audio to get to the next level with this particular phone. And yeah, it is actual Dolby Atmos, not any kind of gimmick. So if you turn it on or off, you'll definitely see the difference. And yeah, you can like tweak it according to you, or you can just leave it on the auto mode so that it switches itself and EQs the audio according to whatever is playing on your screen, which is really nice. So now if we come to the front of the G52 and talk about this display, it is a 6.6 inch POLED display, which is a full HD plus resolution, and it also has a 90Hz refresh rate, which is really nice. 90Hz I believe is a sweet spot between 60 and 120, and it looks really smooth and it feels very smooth. And it is a POLED, as I mentioned, so it is made by LG. There is a bit of yellow tint that I saw, but it only happens when you're on a white screen. Other than that, I didn't see any kind of issues, black crush, green tint or something like that with this particular display. And it has been working really well. It has great colors. You can even tweak the colors in the setting, which is really nice, and it is great colors. It looks really nice. Like I have this particular wallpaper right now, and you can see it looks really good. So yeah, overall this display is really nice. The 90Hz gives it a slight smoothness to the overall UI, and Motorola's MyUX even adds those sweet animations from Android 12, which make this particular display a treat to have. And at this price point, I wouldn't really complain. Now, the complaints that I have with this particular display is that it only supports up to 1080p playback on YouTube. And yeah, that is kind of weird, but I think it is because of the Snapdragon 680 processor. You can't play 4K videos because of that. But yes, you do have option to play Full HD videos on Netflix and Prime Video. It has wideband L1 support, which is a great thing, but there's no HDR support. This is not an HDR display, and there's no HDR support anywhere. But when you look at the display, it has very thin bezels at the front. It has a single hole punch in the middle of the screen for the front camera, and it has very symmetrical and thin bezels, which look really nice. And the screen to body ratio is very low on this particular device, and it all honestly looks really good. I haven't seen many devices with such thin bezels at this particular price point, and Moto G52 surely is a lookup. Also, the auto brightness sensor is kind of finicky if you are going in and out of different lighting situations, so it struggles a bit in order to calibrate itself. So yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not that good, honestly. But apart from that, it comes with all of the sensors that you need in a smartphone, apart from the barometer, which I don't know why someone would use. a normal person would use, but yeah, it has all the sensors that you need, like accelerometer, proximity sensor, magnetometer for the compass, and all those things. It has GPS with GLONASS and Galileo, and the GPS works really well on this phone, and the network reception is also very good on the G52. I didn't see any kind of drops or anything, but yeah, the Wi-Fi performance is not that good. It does support dual band Wi-Fi, and it has all the A, B, G and AC bands, but yeah, the Wi-Fi's range or the Wi-Fi connection support, Wi-Fi strength is not that great on the G52. The earpiece is really loud to take calls, it is very clear, and the mics are also pretty good. I didn't face any issues while taking calls on the G52, and the other side also didn't complain while we were talking. And you can even take calls with a loudspeaker, which is obvious, and the loudspeaker is also very loud and clear. And in the dialer you do get call recording option, but since this comes with the Google dialer, it gives that particular message for before call recording. So yeah, if you're someone who records a lot of calls, then it's a bummer for you. Now if you talk about performance, the Snapdragon 680 works really well, and it also has 6GB of RAM, and the RAM management is decent. But the Snapdragon 680 performs well in day-to-day lives, but I do see quite a few stutters here and there all over the UI. So yeah, it's not that good as compared to something like the 732G or something, but yeah, it is decent enough. It works really well in day-to-day life, and the 90Hz refresh rate does help. But yes, it's not the smoothest experience. Although Motorola's MyUX, which is based on Android 12, is really close to Google software, it still has a few things missing. Like I really like those colored icons, the color palette icons, but yeah, it is not available on this. You can only have the stock Google icons on this, which is a little disappointing, but yeah, you can do everything else. You have the clock widgets and stuff. There's Motorola's own weather widget. Then since this is an AMOLED display, so Motorola has provided their peak display option here, and honestly one of the best implementations of an always on display that I have seen. You can keep the always on display turned on, but I don't really do that. I don't really need the always on display. You can just, whenever a notification arrives, this thing just turns up, or you can just tap on the screen to turn it up, and you can interact with everything that is on the screen. You can directly reply to like messages or emails from this particular peak display, which is really nice, and it's a very useful feature. And there are usual Motorola features built into MyUX, like this chop to turn on the flashlight, and then you have the double twist to turn on the camera. So yeah, these things are present on MyUX, which are Motorola's trademark, and you get the Motorola app, the Moto app in here, which lets you personalize and customize a lot of things. You can change the themes, you can add live wallpapers, and do a lot of things with this particular phone. And yeah, there are a lot of shortcuts inbuilt, like you can swipe across the screen to turn on split screen, and you can hold down with 3 fingers to take a screenshot, and many more things are added in MyUX. And overall this experience is really good. And the few takeouts that I personally really like about this phone is that how light this particular phone is with or without the case, and secondly how the UI feels, looks, and how the UI performs. I really love these things about the Moto G52, and I'm kind of bummed that I have to like sell it, but yeah, I really wanted to keep this phone, but yeah, it's not really possible for me right now because I have to cover other stuff also on the channel. So yeah, apart from that, the only thing which is left is the battery and the camera performance. So if we talk about the battery, it comes with a 5000 mAh battery, and in the box you will get a 33-watt charger, turbocharger, but the Moto G52 only supports up to 30-watt max charging, and the charger charges it in about an hour or so, and it's quite quick, so you don't need to worry about the charging speeds, and the battery just lasts for an eternity. Recently, in my last 2 days, I only charged it once. It lasted me around 2 days with around 9 hours or over 9 hours of screen on time, and I was getting over 9 hours of screen on time on a regular basis, with like almost a day and over a day of usage with this particular smartphone. So my usage is really, what should I say, light, or you should say I don't use many heavy apps. I mostly use social media apps. I use WhatsApp for messaging, and I take calls and do stuff, and I'm mostly on Wi-Fi. So yeah, for my usage the battery performance is excellent honestly. And I can, if with, like as I said, in the last 2 days I didn't get much chance to use the phone, and I used it in between breaks. So yeah, it lasted me a whole 2 days. And that said, it's an excellent phone if you're someone who uses their phone like if you are a light to medium user, that is gonna be an amazing battery performance. Or even if you are like someone who plays a lot of games, you can at least get an entire day of usage from the Moto G52, which is really nice. And I was so surprised with the battery performance of the G52. And yeah, that is one of the main things that I will miss about this phone after I sell it. So yeah, lastly, if we talk about the cameras, we have 4 cameras in total. In the back you get a 50 megapixel primary sensor, which is at an aperture rate of f1.8. Then there's an 8 megapixel 0.5x ultra wide lens, and lastly we have a 2 megapixel macro lens at the back. On the front you get a 16 megapixel sensor, which is pretty good honestly, but my major issue with this phone is that it only supports up to 1080p 30 videos with all of the cameras, and the macro camera shoots 720p video. So yes, you can shoot video with all the 4 lenses, which is great honestly, but 1080p 30 is kind of low in like 2022. I don't know if the Snapdragon 680 supports 4K video recording or not. I don't think it does, otherwise Motorola would have given it, they should have at least given 1080p 60 fps on the back cameras, but yeah, that's also not here. So I'm kind of bummed about that. But yeah, apart from that, if we talk about the picture quality, the camera is like quite good, I would say. It messes up the colors and HDR sometimes, and it blows out the highlights a little bit sometimes. So yeah, the camera still struggles on Motorola phones, but it has come a long way. It is decent for like anyone. If you're someone who uses their phone to click photos and then edits the photos before posting to social media, then it's fine for you, because the colors that come out from the Moto G52 are a little, what should I say, on the natural side. I like those because I always edit my photos before posting. So yeah, I like that particular color scheme. It is very close to the original color, that is the natural color, but yeah, it doesn't saturate it or anything like that, doesn't exaggerate any colors. So some people might find it very dull. So yeah, it's not for everyone, but if you're someone who likes natural looking color and edits their photos before posting, so yeah, this can be a very good camera for you. The ultra wide camera is not that great. Even the macro camera is total like shit. But the front camera and the main 50 megapixel camera on the Moto G52 are quite good honestly. And yeah, if you are someone who doesn't really use their camera much and mostly focuses on the software and their day-to-day usage, then I would say the Moto G52 is an excellent smartphone for you. You can just grab it for around 15,000 rupees and you will be happy. The overall experience with the Moto G52 has been really good over the past week. And yeah, if I could keep this phone I would have, but unfortunately I can't. But yeah, if you want to buy it, I'll leave the links down in the description. But yes, that's my experience with the Moto G52. Okay, I forgot to mention that it also supports NFC, which is not available on any phone in this particular price range. So yeah, it supports NFC, and if you're someone who uses contactless payments on their phones, then it supports NFC. You can do contactless payments with this. You just have to add the particular app, and yeah, you'll be able to do contactless payments and share stuff using NFC, which is excellent. And yeah, that's a very convenient feature which is missing from most phones in this particular price range. So yeah, Motorola has provided NFC at 15,000 rupees, which is excellent. So yes, that's about it for my experience with the Moto G52 after using it for around a week. And yeah, if you like this video, if you found this helpful, then don't forget to hit that like button And definitely subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below, and also hit the bell icon beside that, so that you will get regular notifications whenever I upload any new videos. And yeah, with that said, I'm your friend Shinobi and I'm signing out. Peace.